All righty, sports fans, welcome on in. It is the Down and Dirty on ESPN 792.1 FM. Right here with me, Scott Mitchell. We are proud to be a part of Utah's ESPN radio network. And of course, we are Utah's #1 sports talk. So glad you could join the show. So much to talk about today. One of my favorite people in the world is going to join us right now. It's none other than Jason Buck, Outland Trophy winning NFL longtime veteran, Super Bowl champion, and Super Bowl loser. I shouldn't say that. Anyways, not his fault they lost. Jason Buck joins us on the show. Jason, how you doing?
That's right. It wasn't my fault.
Right. Never your fault.
4 or 5 guys on cocaine the night before the game that let us down. But, other than that.
Yeah, that cocaine, it's a bad thing. How let's just talk about that to start with. How rampant do you think recreational drug use was in the NFL? And maybe is today?
In our day, I thought it was a joke. It was so rampant on the team. But so everybody knew. I know they may have changed the rules since I've left, but when we were there, you remember, they'd send us a letter 30 days or 3 months before, spring camp and let us know we're going to be tested here. We always had warning, right? And then they'd
a long warning.
Fall camp, we get a letter, you're going to be tested here. And so, and you wouldn't be tested all season for recreational drugs. They
right.
test for, sports enhancing drugs, but not recreational because they didn't want to kick out half the league. So those guys, and then we get in the season, right? And every Monday you'd look over and there's the urine line with about 10 guys in it holding their cups to go in and pee. And everybody on the team knew, they were the guys that got busted because they were so freaking stupid that they got caught after having a 1, 2 month, 3 month warning before we got tested. So, and those were the only guys. And then they'd get slapped on the wrist 2 or 3 times before they got suspended for a week or two before, it hit national news. By the time it's there, guys like Leon Lett and all those guys have been busted multiple times.
I always found it fascinating, this whole thing that you talk about, this notification, it was your letter to remind you or to prepare you for training camp. And one of the most prominent things, like in bold type, was, okay, on this day when you get here, it was either day 1 or day 2, you'll be tested for these substances. Oh, so fascinating to me. So for me, you talk about performance enhancing drugs. Like, it was never something that even ever crossed my mind in my whole life as I grew up in sports and football. Mostly because of the position I played, and partly too. I mean, I've been 6'6" since I was 15. The one like I needed to grow. But how hard of a challenge was it for you, a guy that played a position where strength and power and was a huge part of it, and knowing that the guys you're competing against probably are using performance enhancing drugs? How hard? What's the pressure of that like to say, do I do this? Do I have to do this? Can I function? Can I survive? Can I compete if I don't?
Yeah, you know what? They passed the really hard steroid rule like my rookie year or second year in the league, somewhere right about there. And, man, I just never even considered it, and I didn't even know anybody. Honestly, I guess I wasn't in that circle, so I didn't know anybody on the teams I played on that was doing it. You would suspect, but I talked to an NFL testing doctor, and I'm like, how would anybody dare do that when you get tested and then you get kicked out of the league? And the guy said everybody at that time was doing HGH because they couldn't test for it. And so there were a lot of guys doing that, but I just didn't know them. You suspected, right? When you played, you'd see them just super huge going into the end of the season, like they're bodybuilder big, and you're like, oh, that guy's doing something.
Right.
But it was weird. I never heard conversations, in the locker room about it, or the people I was with or around, like anybody was doing it. But I've heard, I talked to some guys when I was out of my career, and even in college, that were finding these super high-end labs and doctors that were just like a business, like for the Olympics, to stay ahead of the testing stuff, and that were doing it. But I honestly didn't know anybody like that,
It sounds a little bit like the BYU honor code. Like, here's the rules, and then they were trying to find ways to get around the rules that actually weren't, a violation. So I guess NFL drug use was similar to the BYU honor code then, essentially.
Yeah, they had the NFL version of the Provo Park or whatever
they
call it.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Provo
or
Park.
I'm gonna go to Las Vegas and get married, and then I'll get it annulled after the weekend. So kind of thing.
After a great weekend. Yeah. That was good. See, people are smart. They can find a way.
You can always find a way to cheat. So
yeah.
But you live a happier and a more peaceful life if you don't.
Yeah, I knew some guys were doing it that, I honestly didn't know anybody on my teams at the Bengals or the Redskins that were doing any sports enhancing stuff. But man, the recreational drug thing was rampant. You'd hear guys talking about in the locker room, and you're like, dude, you guys, they're giving you all the break in the world. You got to be so stupid. You can't be clean, because you can wash that out of your system in a month or so.
Right.
You got to be clean for the tests when you come in the spring and the fall, and then you don't get tested again the rest of the year. I mean, it's like you're like the guys. So people that hit public, they're just so addicted they couldn't stop for a month.
It's one of those things where if you fail that test, if you fail your season drug test, you're a complete moron. I mean, that's really what it is. And it's funny.
Michael Irvin, those guys, they're complete morons. They couldn't get off the drugs and be clean for those tests. And how big was your P line at your teams on Mondays when you walked in?
There's actually one guy. What happened? There was a couple things happened. So we overlapped a little bit, but your career was kind of ending about when mine was really taking off. And what happened is they changed the policy on being in the league's substance abuse program. And in fact, our player rep came back from the league meetings and said, it didn't say if you're on drugs. It just said, hey, make sure that you get into the program. So you just have to admit you have a drug problem. And if you admit it and you get into the program, then you'll never get kicked out of the league. You'll never get fined. Nothing will ever happen.
Took care of the problem. Okay.
Yeah. That's how
it felt smart, man, because you and I both know if they treated recreational street drugs like they treated sports enhancing drugs on the same level, you'd have half the league gone.
They would put the Betty Ford Clinic into some serious business if they said, okay,
yes.
Our league has there's no question about it.
With equality, that would be a huge problem for the league.
Now, what's funny is like people like you and me, we are an anomaly. We're abnormal.
Yeah.
Like most people who are NFL players will not have this conversation because they can't. Like, because they go, I was one of those people, So you don't hear a lot of people talk about it because, well, they can't. But us non-drug users, and look, we're not saintly. We're not any better than anyone else. We just didn't take drugs, but most people do.
We didn't come from that culture, and the guys that come from that culture carry that burden. It's that old saying, you can take the boy off the farm, you can't take the farm out of the boy. And it's the same with the inner city. If they're running with the gangs, all you did is took a kid out of the gangs and gave him a bunch of money. And they don't have that discipline. It's just it makes the problem bigger.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to overcome your environment, no question. So I want to go down just a little rabbit hole here. So there's if people don't know, they have these chapters around the country for retired NFL players, and they have a chapter here in Utah. And Jason and I have been involved in this in various levels through time. I don't know how good we are at, probably terrible. They had an event. Was it last night?
Yeah, last night.
And did you go to the event?
Great event.
What happens?
Yeah,
Tell me about the event. Tell people like what happens with retired NFL players. There's actually a place for us to go. There's actually a place here locally that, and it's quite a big chapter of players. And there's a decent number of former NFL players that live here in the state of Utah.
Absolutely, and it's really grown because as the culture we have in Utah, most players, or a huge number of players, you and I both know, stay in the cities where they played because they have a great career there afterwards because of their names and the team and everything. And but a lot of the guys that are LDS and know Utah or played here all come back. So we have well over 50, somewhere between 50 and 100 members here in the state of Utah. The chapter has really grown. There was probably 50 players there last night.
Oh, wow.
And their families. Last night we had a big Polynesian luau. And so all the wives and children, I showed up at the biggest. Jason Buck had the biggest group. I had all my grandchildren. Well, I missed a couple, but I had 17 there.
Oh, my goodness.
So I got the award. But we had Hawaiian dancers, Polynesian dancers. It was an awesome evening, and we all got to rub shoulders. And then we talked a little player business. And our player business generally works around, obviously, our personal help and, reentry back into the society after football and just helping each other. And then helping each other's charities in the communities and programs for the youth and sports camps. And the NFLPA really tries to give back to the community, and our chapter really focuses, on all the players and their programs to help the community. A lot of sports camps and those type of things and appearances by the players to just help charities and other things. Very giving
community we have here. Speaking of charities and giving back, you have a football camp, which is very unique and a different thing. I think it's really cool. Tell everyone a little bit about what you're doing and where you're doing it and why.
My sons and I started a charity, a 501(c) called American Huddle, and it's really focused upon the rural communities because I grew up in a small town school with 25 students in a graduating class without any opportunity. And so we've focused on trying to get to a small town football. And so we have a good friend up in Immigrant, Montana, that is the head coach of the team there, and 6-man football. And so we go up every summer and do a 6-man football camp to the kids in that community and the other, 6-man teams in the region. So the kids actually come in and spend the night in the gym because they come from hundreds of miles away with their coaches. And we practice on a field where elk are standing on the side of the field. When you get done practice, you literally have kids with green elk crap on their pants from hitting on the field, so we can't get it all cleaned off.
Oh my!
They had a wolf kill on elk out on the football field last year. This is right there off the edge of West Yellowstone on the north side. It's just a great experience. And literally practicing in the middle of the mountains, 6-man football, teaching them skills and life skills, right? You know how it is. You stop into practice, between practice, you're teaching them life skills and how to become better people and how to be champions on and off the field, and really changing their lives. It is a really neat experience to go out there and give them something that they never have an opportunity for.
I love that, and I love your story just to begin with because it's such a great story. Just kind of how you grew up, where you grew up. Where it took you in your life, and of course, let me just tell everyone about Jason Buck really quick. So don't listen, Jason, and all the listeners, please listen. I've never met an individual in my life who has no guile. Like Jason Buck is really the most genuine, from the heart, kindest person I've ever met in my life. There's just his bones are just full of goodness. They really are, and he and I have a fun time giving Jason a hard time, and he just takes it in stride. He just kind of laughs it off, and it just, and I do it good natured, but he just just so everyone knows, there's not a better human, not a better person in the world than Jason, and so I love what you're doing. It's just a really fun thing, and that you're giving back to the people that that you kind of came from, really.
Thanks, Scott. I mean, you know how coaching is. And I appreciate what you said so much, brother. But you get up in these little towns, and I knew where I grew up, and you knew kids, they just hadn't experienced anything else. They didn't know the outside world. They didn't know they could achieve these things. And they'd say things like, "You can't do that coming from a town like this." And you get in this community, and I'm coaching boys last year up in Montana that, this one kid was living with other people. His parents had divorced. They both abandoned him. And so he's living with people in town. And I've got that kid and put my arm around him, teaching him how to dream and to control his own destiny and to overcome this adversity and know that he can change his life and make it better for his family and achieve his dreams. And you literally have this opportunity to change the paths of young men's lives and get them going in the right direction in a short period of time. And I love that opportunity to get back, because I didn't have anybody. I just found a way by myself and fought by myself, no matter what they told me. And now I can help these other boys dream and rise up and change their lives for, become something better and be great fathers and have great homes and intertwine it, right? You teach them how to intertwine that discipline on the football field and how that applies to life, and how they use it to become a better leader, a better businessman, a better father, and a great champion on the field.
There's nothing more. Yeah. I was just going to say, there's nothing more rewarding in life than a sense of, having a dream and seeing it become real, regardless of where you start, where your circumstances are. So really appreciate that. All right. I want to play a game.
We still have a great fly fishing trip for you up in Montana, if you can come up and coach with us one of these years.
I'm all over it. I can't this year, but yeah. I would love to.
I know, and if everybody out there knows, I mean, Scott and I, we just are brothers, and we got we help each other out there. So I'm giving that, but that's how the Montana people take care of us. They take us hunting and fishing for our reward to help their community.
Count me in. Some amazing fishing.
All right, buddy.
All right, we're gonna play a game. You're gonna be the general manager for a team, and you're a defensive guy. I'm not going to give you the pressure of actually picking offensive players. So you're going to pick defensive players. So you're going to pick your defense. You're going to start a football team. I'm going to give you two names, and you have to pick one of the two players to be on your team. All right, and you can't pick yourself. I'm not going to put you in there because we all would pick ourselves first. So it's totally fine. All right, so we're going to start with. I'm going to start with safeties. Okay, so the all-time greatest safeties in the NFL. Well, we'll just say here's your choice. Okay, you either have Troy Polamalu or Ronnie Lott.
Ooh,
I know.
Ooh. Those are two great ones. Deservedly to be up there.
Which one are you taking?
I'm going with Ronnie Lott.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Ronnie Lott. And maybe that's partly because that was my era exactly, and playing against him, but I loved his type of football, and just he had a little shorter career because he came up and he played physical, right? And just rocked it. He was
All right.
quite the player.
So now I'm going to give you because you have to have two safeties. So Ed Reed,
Okay.
is one, and I'm going to go with a guy who I think is an amazing safety, who's not in the Hall of Fame, and I think he should be. Maybe he is now. I'm not sure. I lose track sometimes. And Steve Atwater. Ed Reed, Steve Atwater. Who you got?
Atwater.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really liked him. I can't believe he's not in the Hall of Fame.
All right, we're going to go to corners.
You know what? You'd be the best judge, and honestly, me as a D lineman, I think a quarterback like you would be a great judge of a safety that should be, in the Hall of Fame and who they played against, right? Just like me playing against the offensive lineman. But
I mean, yeah. I'd probably go Ed Reed and Ronnie Lott would be my two. But you're Jason Buck. You have your own team. Okay, cornerbacks.
I'm more familiar with Atwater, I guess.
Right.
I mean, just like
I get it. All right, here you go. You ready for this?
I just know the name, right? I mean, and we were against him back then.
Okay, cornerbacks. Deion Sanders or Darrell Green? Darrell Green was one of your teammates.
Dick LeBeau.
Oh, you got a write-in candidate?
Oh man, he's Hall of Fame, and he was a great corner. No, I'm kidding. We both played with Dick LeBeau. We played for Dick LeBeau. Oh no, dude, Darrell. You know what? They're both fantastic, and they're both pretty similar, right? In a way that they use their speed to hang back off of guys, and neither one of them were big-time tacklers and contact guys, and which helped him last longer in the league. We'd talk about it. Darrell just grapple and bring him down. He didn't come up and rip people's heads off.
Right.
But I'm going with Darrell, dude. He's my teammate. He's my good friend.
Ooh.
Hall of Fame. I love Darrell, and he did some amazing things that I didn't even see Deion Sanders do. Dude, if you see on film Darrell Green catching an NFL wide receiver that had like a 30-yard lead on him and come on, and it looked like a Wile E. Coyote Bugs Bunny cartoon on film, how he closed the distance on that guy before he scored. Why it looked like a different UFO was on the field with all these other players, and he just accelerated and on human speed. And it was just Darrell did amazing things. He's a good man, and I played against Deion Sanders obviously, and he did punt return too, which he was fantastic at.
Yeah. But
just out of loyalty, I got to go with Darrell because I know what kind of a quality man he is, and leadership and character.
Part of what a lot of very successful teams in the NFL go with guys they know, and trust. So there's nothing wrong with that choice, not at all.
Well, character is a big thing to me. Deion Sanders is a little controversial and a little
He's flashy. He is flashy.
Flashy, yeah.
All right, here's you have to have two. So you have Darrell Green, and then your other choices are Rod Woodson or Mel Blount.
Ooh. Woodson.
It's Jason.
Yeah. Did you go with Mel Blount?
I just would because of his name. Although Rod Woodson is one of the all-time. Look, I think if you had Ronnie Lott, Rod Woodson, and Deion Sanders, Deion, like those might be three of the all-time greats. And Mel Blount, maybe, I don't know. I don't know that there's
everybody you just gave on there are Hall of Fame players.
Right. I know this is hard. Okay, I want to get. Yeah, I need to get to defensive ends. Okay, Bruce Smith or Reggie White.
Ooh.
Rapid fire, just give them to me.
Dude. Reggie White.
Okay, let's go with linebackers. Ray Lewis or Oh, shoot. Junior Seau.
Oh, Ray Lewis.
All right. Aaron Donald or Warren Sapp?
Donald.
Nice.
Better guy. Better person. I'd rather have him on my team.
All right. Nothing wrong with that. All right. We got to run, Jason. I'm at a hard stop.
Okay,
so
before you run,
talk to me.
Give one great one to all the listeners out there.
Okay.
One of the greatest D linemen to ever play the game that's not talked about is Joe Klecko from the great Jets teams in the 80s. Anthony
Probably
Munoz, arguably the greatest O-lineman to ever play, and my dear friend tells me Joe Klecko is the best player he ever played against.
Love it.
And,
hey, have a great day.
Stud.
Yep. Have a great day. So glad to talk to you. A lot of fun. We'll have you on soon again because there are a lot more.
Utah, brother.
All right. We'll be good. All right. That's Jason Buck. This is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell, ESPN 792.1 FM. So much more coming up around the corner. We'll catch you in a second. Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on ESPN 792.1 FM. So glad you could join us. Really fun conversation with Jason. Jason is full of opinion. Love to have him on the show. Try to have him on, periodically. Maybe we should have him on more. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Text us. Actually, I was thinking about this morning. If you ever have a question, if there's anything you're curious about or you'd like to hear, I'm more than happy to give you my opinion about whatever it is. Happy to answer your questions. So text us 877-353-0700 for any of your questions, whenever. So glad you could join the show. So glad to be a part of your day, however it is. If you don't catch all of the show and you're driving around, you just get a little portion of it. Don't worry. just download us as a podcast or go to the ESPN 700 Sports app or the ESPN700sports.com. You can get us, you can live stream us there. You can get us, you can download shows. You can download a segment if you want, or all of them. Okay? Do whatever you want. You can certainly check out really anything. And we're happy that you do it. And we want to serve you. And that's we know people are listening a lot of places. And I have to tell you, I really appreciate I'm finding myself out and about in the community, and I have people quite often come up to me and tell me that they enjoy listening to the show. And I can't tell you how much that means to me. I have neighbors, I have people I don't even know. I have friends, I probably have enemies. Maybe somebody tunes in, they don't like me and they just want to hear what I have to say so they can complain. I love that too. I'm fine if people don't share my opinion. It doesn't hurt my feelings. And I'm certainly glad to chat about differing opinions. I love to hear what people's thoughts and I love their mindset. So I'm a big fan of all of it. Joe Burrow is lamenting over the fact that he has to play on a holiday game once again. Once again, he has to play in Baltimore over the holiday. 4th year in a row. I will tell Joe Burrow, I get his pain. It's like, because he goes, could we just for once have a game in Cincinnati? Now, going from Cincinnati to Baltimore is not really a massive road trip. It's not that far, but it's a far cry from having every game at 1:00. I played for the Cincinnati Bengals at a time when all of the games were at 1:00. So, Joe, say it ain't so, Joe, and find some grace and gratefulness. And he was kind of joking a little bit, but not, because it is a challenge to play on a short week on the road. The other team has a massive advantage for so many reasons. I've talked about them on the show here. So I get that. I really do. All I know is that if you're able to sneak into Baltimore on a short week later in the season and win, it's a massive advantage for you as far as playoffs. And so it has huge implications. So finding it deep within yourself, Joe, to win that game in spite of all those things. I mean, it's the 4th time you've done it. You should have some, some confidence or some feeling of, hey, we're okay with this. We can do this. Speaking of the people I meet out in the community. So I will say the absolute biggest topic I hear from people. It's the first thing everybody says to me. I kid you not. Almost verbatim, it's the same comment. NIL is killing college football for me. I think it's the bane of our existence as college fans. I hear people that are giving up their tickets. They've had enough. I know that boosters have got to have fatigue. Imagine what this is like in your life, where you're constantly barraged by people. Let's just say you're really wealthy. And you're constantly barraged by people. Could you please give us this? Could you please give us that? Could you please give us this? And I know some people are going to say, but you have that. And I don't want to say there's an expectation, but there certainly is a perception or an opportunity. I remember leaving college and going to the NFL, and someone told me, just tell everybody no. You are going to have all kinds of people come out of the woodwork with all kinds of crazy ideas and crazy schemes and crazy this and crazy that. Just tell everybody no. You have a short window of time to make money. You can make good money in professional sports. This was 1990, so it wasn't great money then. You'd have to play, the goal was like play 15 years and have $2 million in the bank when you retire after 15 years. Because, and 15 years, I mean, the average career is 3. So it's 5 times the average. And the minimum salary, I think at the time, was around probably $35,000 a year. So very different now. Anyways, if you're a booster at any university and they're coming to you going, we need $20 million. And people go, yeah, we don't care. We don't care about winning a national championship so badly that we're going to find a way to donate $20 million a year. And asking just a few people to do it, I think, is impossible. If you're a local team here in the state of Utah, I don't care what anyone says. I don't believe there are that many mega donors that they can sustain that over a long period of time. And I don't know that they really want to anyways. I mean, if you have an opportunity to donate $500,000, $1 million, you're going to want to do it for something that there's a return on it, like that it's really making a difference. And I don't know that putting it in the pocket of an 18, 19-year-old kid is one of those things you go, well, that's going to make a huge difference for a lot of people. I think the University of Utah got burned a little bit, and not by nefariousness, but just by the unkindness of the football gods. Cam Rising got hurt. Seriously. I mean, he's done playing football. And he was a guy that really had given so much. And by him not being in, had really taken a lot. And this is the number one thing I hear from people. That the NIL is absolutely ruining college football. And it's turning people off. And it's turning fans off. And like I said, I have to believe it's turning boosters off. I have to believe it. People have to be just like, I'm done. Or I have a limit. This is what you're going to get. And speaking about the University of Utah, one of the great things was Coach Whittingham's ability to develop players. Utah does such a great job of that. And NIL is kind of killing basically a strategy that's been one of the most successful strategies in all of college football. Not just locally, but all of college football. He's done more with less than probably anyone in the country. And it's because he finds the right kind of players that fits his program, and he develops them over years. And NIL will not allow that. Players just going to get snatched right out from underneath you. And there's no rules. I mean, none. And I've always felt like, okay, let's be patient. Let's let this thing play out. And I'm not sure that we've cycled through it enough to let it play out. I think there's enough people out there in the world of college athletics that are willing to throw money at programs. Stupid money. And they have it. And they just go, I do not care. I think it's one of the crimes in our society in sports about buying championships. And I think it's done at every level. I think it's done in youth sports. One of the things that I absolutely loved about growing up in the community I did. Grew up in Springville, Utah. Alan Curtis was the community rec director. And he put together some amazing programs for youth sports. We had an incredible baseball program that he was able to develop. A youth football program. Basket. They had great sports. And I cherish those times when I played baseball, just some of the funnest times in the world. And then came Super League. And it was a form of let's buy championships. So they basically go, we're going to pick our own team and the rest of you be damned. And we're going to go out. We're going to go to tournaments. We're going to spend thousands of dollars on just a few kids and hope they make the grade. And we'll go and play in these tournaments all the time. So then these kids get old, and it's all about, hey, if I want to get to college, if I want to get to the pros, I got to specialize. And I believe it's the biggest crime that has been perpetuated on our society is this specialization. I think having this cross-training effect, I think diversifying your experience, just being athletic, just enjoying your childhood, far more important to me than specialization. And then, so these kids get older. They've been in these super leagues, destroys your community programs because not every kid can go, and not every kid can develop. And by the way, not every kid develops the same. Kids that are 12 that are superstars, a lot of times when they get older, aren't. They had their growth spurt at 12. And what about these kids that grew at later times? You know, where are they today? How many of those kids didn't play or whatever? So then you have open enrollment, which I think is another crime in the state of Utah. And I'm fine with going to school wherever you want to go. That's great. Sports is a different thing. Sports isn't like it's not a right. It's a privilege. And it's been supported, I believe, all the way to the Supreme Court that it is not your right to play sports in high school. And so when they have this perception that you have to transfer, that you have to go to these other schools, it absolutely drove me nuts when I was a coach in high school. And you can't compete against these other schools. They have so much more talent than you do. And so you see a lot of programs just die. And to me, it's just absolutely horrible that as a society, we talk about NIL today, but it's been permeating through our sports. In the NBA, they didn't like this. They didn't like the idea of buying championships. They didn't like it. They said no. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. It's ridiculous when you're trying to compete. You want a chance to be at the dance. You want a chance for a championship, and knowing you're never going to get it has a massive impact, and it's massively disincentivizing. You go, what's the point? Why do we try so hard if we know we never have a chance to win? And then the couple of teams that win all the time, they're like, hey, this is great. This is the greatest thing in the world. We're so amazing. And they've killed everyone else in the process. And NIL is really doing that. And I don't think we're there. I don't think we've hit bottom yet. But there are some people out there trying to make a difference. Tommy Tuberville, who was a coach for 41 years, now he's a senator in Alabama, actually begged the president of the United States, please get involved in this. Can we do something? Can we figure something out? Can we have a commission? Can we have some order to all of this that we're doing? And I hope that in all of what the president is attempting to do, fixing college sports, and it needs to be fixed, is a top priority. And there has to be order that comes to all this chaos. Or we're gonna lose a lot of folks along the way. This is Down and Dirty. We're gonna take a break. But before we do, let me tell you about ESPN's Festival of Tees, which is powered by the Utah Golf Association. Each day, ESPN 700 is giving away rounds of golf for the best courses in the state. Listen to the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell from 10 to 11. That's me. And the Sean O'Connell Show from 11 to 2. Drive with Spence Checketts from 2 to 6 for your chance to win each day from ESPN 700. Just text. Oh, you ready for this one, folks? Text Jason Buck to 877-353-0700 to play at Cedar Hills. 1 round, 18 holes of golf. We come back. What sport has the best playoffs? we'll talk about that more when we return. This is ESPN 700-921 FM. All righty, sports fans, welcome back. It is a Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on ESPN 700-921 FM. Utah's number one sports talk. Oh, it's been a fun day. I don't know. I just love these topics. I love talk about sports. And I love my conversations with Jason Buck. And, it's funny. Like here in the state of Utah, there's rivalries, right? Utah, BYU, one of the better rivalries in all of college sports. And I will tell you, like, I grew up the biggest BYU fan in the world. I really thought that's where I was going to go to school. I have so many deep ties there, and I didn't. And I had a tremendous experience at the University of Utah. Both on the field and personally, like that, a lot of what happens when you go to college is it really sets the foundation for the rest of your life, your personal life, a lot of times, your career, and I was able to do that. It was a wonderful experience, and I'm a Utah man. Broadcast all of the football games. Love to do that. Been doing that for the last 8 years and really enjoy diving into and dissecting and sharing what I see on the air. It's a lot of fun. And every year I want to beat BYU. I was devastated, infuriated, at last year's loss. And that's what makes it a great rivalry, because you like, that was a terrible call by that official. Utah probably would have run away with this game and Brandon Rose not gotten injured. I mean, like, that's That's the fodder. Like, is you can never give your rival, never give them an inch. Never. Even if they beat you. Well, something either nefarious like the official or just the bad luck of something is the only reason we lost. And that's a great rivalry, that you never give in to your rival. And it works both ways. I get it. And I love the absolute insanity of the rationale between the two rivals. But I will tell you, I have great friends that were at BYU. I mean, I've had them on our show. I've had people have my heroes and people I have tremendous respect for. And they're BYU people. And it doesn't change one iota that I want to beat the pants off them. And guess what? They feel the same way. I don't like Utah. But there's something that I can really appreciate is that they're truly friends of mine. And I respect the heck out of them. And I think the world, and Jason, is one of those people. There's a lot. I mean, even Kyle. Kyle Whittingham's a BYU guy. And it's funny because if I ever show up at the facility, go to practice, whatever, and if I'm wearing any blue, it's the first thing he says to me. There's not hello, it's good to see you. Hey, thanks for stopping by. It's like, where did you get that horrible shirt? Like, why are you wearing blue around here? And my response has to be, well, this is Detroit Lions blue, not BYU blue. And he's a BYU guy, and Kalani, who was such a great coach at the University of Utah, did a tremendous job as a coach. And I have just all the respect in the world for Kalani Sitake. I really do. I think he's a very good human being and a really good coach. And I thought he did a tremendous job in so many ways at BYU. So many ways. Handling independence. I think that's the death sentence for any coach. And to be able to do that and to handle it and to come out of it where BYU is right now, tremendous. So I love the rivalries, but man, people are so much better than the rivalries. And, it's like, I don't hate BYU people. Okay, there's one person at BYU I'm not really happy with. And it's true. It's a real thing. And it was very disappointing in how this individual handled a situation. And I will never tell you what this person's name is. But it was massively disappointing. But other than that, it's all good. It really is. And in fact, I enjoy having friends who are from BYU, and I enjoy the rivalry. I think it's good right now. It's like, okay, Utah, the last two games, you all have lost. You better pick it up. This is not a cool thing. And I hope that this continues to be a really good thing moving forward. And I will just tell you, rising tides raises all ships. And this rivalry is certainly rising. And it's only rising because these teams are in the same conference. And they're in a good conference. They're in a conference that has a bid to the college football playoffs. Never has that happened here in the state of Utah. So I don't know. I want people to have a healthy look and a healthy appreciation for this rivalry. And we don't have to hate each other. But man, we can't lose. We cannot lose to them. That's all I'm going to say. But they're nice people. All right, Martin asked me, which sport has the best playoff format when it comes to creating good matchups? Playoffs gives the fan the best bang for their buck. I'll tell you which one does. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Well, they're all good, in my opinion. But World Cup soccer, which I can't believe is coming out of my mouth. I love the whole aspect of that in the sense that it's a worldwide event. And I tune into the World Cup. I do. I love it. I'll watch it. I love how countries will have people executed if they lose Colombia. Or like I say that kiddingly. I don't want anyone to die over sports. What's that?
Also, I was going to say Colombia did that and Italy. Italy did that after their first World Cup. They said their leader said, if you don't win the second World Cup, don't come back.
Yeah. So that's kind of compelling. Now, what else is compelling is the NFL is same with the NCAA basketball. It's like a do or die, and there's something exciting about that. Like there's no tomorrow, and it brings out either a great choke in some places or people just really playing their guts out, and so you can appreciate that. It's hard to argue with the NFL and its playoffs. It goes on for an extended period of time. And of course, the Super Bowl is just really a fun event. March Madness is very similar. It's this that it goes on for a long time. That March Madness is great from the standpoint of having the whole Cinderella element of this. And there's a little bit in the NFL as well. But I just really like all the sports, but I love hockey and I love basketball because, man, it's a vetting process. Like you got to win multiple series. It eliminates that having a bad night, and you really vet out your champion. So it's all good to watch, and if it's playoffs, count me in. I'm going to watch. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. Please join us again tomorrow. Right now, it's the Sean O'Connell Show. And until then, we'll see you then.